Okay guys, sort of tried something completely different today. It's I've been making this micarta lately for making some picks, and like I say, this is the last batch I made. I don't know if you can see that. It's as you see, we've just got black micarta with a yellow and green stripe, which makes a pretty good pick, I must say. I'm going to do a pick making video using either this or the one which we're going to make today, which will be my next video. We'll just put that back up there. So I thought I'd go through the process really. A nice, quick, cheap, simple way of making micarta, this is basically all the bits and pieces you're going to need. I've got a really cool, quick, cheap press as well to actually compress the actual micarta whilst it's curing, which will kind of give it that sort of nice deep bound together solid compound, which is exactly what you need. Yeah, so I thought we'd go through the process really. As I said, you know, we've got just got starting from the front. We just got a piece of plywood, nothing special, just covered with a wax paper. I used this one yesterday to make this green and yellow and black. You're going to need another piece to actually sort of sink it all into once we actually sort of get into there. And then just some bits of wood, nice cheap bits of wood. This is 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches, which will give you enough to actually sort of sink everything into and then compress it without too much of the resin escaping, and then just an end stop there to actually sort of keep everything nice and uniform. And then you're going to need a plate to actually bond it onto, to actually compress it with, and then something to actually sort of go through and give it its final compression from there. So not too bad at all. So what we'll start off with is we'll actually start off by making the actual press itself. So electric gun. The basic frame ready. And after that, what I do, I tend to line it with the wax paper. Which is good. Now the actual dimensions is 65mm by 230mm, which gives you quite a good sort of piece to actually work with. You're going to cut it up, and you know, you can either use it for knife scales, or just for part-tang picks, or if you want to just slice it down even further into 6mm chunks, and obviously you can use it for full-tang scales for full-tang picks. So that's basically that part. Now obviously once all the micarta's in there, this will fold over, and obviously we will sit this on top of that. So what I'll do, I'll just get the material ready and we'll go to the next stage. Okay, so I've got the material ready now. I'm not going to go through obviously just cutting it, but what I've done, I've just basically cut everything 65mm by 230. Now what I've done for the actual design of this particular piece of micarta I'm going to make is, let me just move that one over there a bit. I've got a thin one there, don't need that one anyway. Okay, is I've done 16 pieces of black, followed by 2 pieces of red, 4 pieces of yellow, another 2 pieces of red, just to obviously keep it nice and symmetrical, and then another 16 pieces of black. That's going to be our design, which I think you'll think that's going to be pretty good actually. It's going to look very nice. Imagine making either some knife scales or a pick out of that. Very nice. So obviously that's the material cut. Now what we do, put this to one side, get the mould put over there. I think we'll put them back over there for a second, because obviously we've got the mixing of the actual resin. Now I've used this polyester resin, as you can see, curing time of 20 minutes, 16 to 20 minutes at 20 degrees, with 2% hardener, which comes like this as well. 12 quid for a litre. It's really good value. And although this is blue now, by the time it actually cures, it actually goes completely clear. So obviously you get that depth of colour for whichever material you're using. So it works really, really well. Now obviously you haven't got to measure this. So we'll just zero this in. And I'm going to use 250 grams of this to 5 mils of this, which is the actual ratio it wants. We will, first of all, we'll get some gloves, because this stuff's pretty evil. And of course, once we actually get it all mixed in, then obviously we're going to have to work pretty quick, because we've got 20 minutes. In fact, in actual fact, we've actually got about 15 minutes to actually to work with it and to get it all in and flat, and then get it ready for compressing in the absolutely fantastic, and I love this. The actual thing I'm using to compress this is, as I said, it's something we've all got in our workshops, and it's very, very effective, and you can really kind of wind up the tension to give it a really good compression. Okay, so 250 grams of this. Okay, so as you can see, the messy bit's done, and then what I do is just fold this over here, try and get a nice fold there, and get that compressed in there, and then put this piece on here like that. Okay, that's good, that kind of seals it in. Now we're going to get some leakage, and then of course this will go on top there to actually compress it. Now what I'll do, I'll stop the film, and we will go to the really cool little compression thing I've made up. Okay, so as you can see, what I've done, I've used a Black & Decker workbench, because obviously you can make sure that's all in frame there. Okay, because obviously you can control the amount of pressure we put on each side, and as long as you keep it nice and level, then obviously you're going to get a nice even micarta, and something you can easily work with. You don't want to press it too much at first, because as you can see, the actual resin will start to escape, which is inevitable, you know, it's just the way it is. What I tend to do is just leave it sort of semi-compressed, make sure each side's even, and we can leave that there for, I don't know, probably 10-15 minutes. And then you'll probably find that it's ready for the next compression, because once it starts to go off, I tend to compress it down even further to give you that really nice finish. Okay, we'll be back in 10-15 minutes time. Okay, the micarta's started to go off now. Actually gets really hot actually as well, so I can really kind of crank up the actual pressure now on this to actually give it a really good solid compact micarta, obviously similar to this stuff here. It gives you a really good base to actually work off. That's just going to, it's just still seeping out there a little bit there. Just don't want too much to escape. So we'll leave that compressed until it goes off, and we'll be back shortly. Let's put them over there. See, the wax paper just stops everything from sticking, so it makes it really easy to disassemble the mould to get your micarta out. Plus less clearing up, so you make the next batch nice and easy. Yeah. Off, break all the hard stuff off. Really looking forward to seeing what's made inside this one. Been thinking about making this one for a little while actually. I'm just looking for a screwdriver. It's good. Found a screwdriver. Okay, so let's find these little bits up here. Should theoretically just come off. Nice and simple. There we go. See the whole thing comes apart nice and easily. And we have one solid piece of micarta. And as you can see, that resin is not blue anymore, it's gone kind of clear and translucent. So, and it's a really nice size to actually work with. So let me just get these bits off. Lovely, look at that, nice uniform piece of micarta. What we do is stop the video, have a little clear up, and then we'll get you over to the saw and we'll cut them up. Okay, so we're over by the bandsaw and we'll just get the bad boy started up. It's going to look like. It's going to look absolutely beautiful. Nice red and yellow fibres through there with the dark top and bottom. So once it's all polished up, it's going to look wonderful. What I'll do, I'll just cut a bit off and polish it up, and we can see what it's going to look like. Okay, so I've just given this a quick sanding over and gone over with 600 grit and just given it a quick buff on the buffing wheel. And you can just see the richness of that colour come through. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful stuff. And of course, this is the actual piece that I'm going to make a custom pick out on my next video. So listen guys, hope you enjoyed my process of making homemade micarta, in my opinion, the simple way. And of course, using the Black & Decker workbench as a press to keep it nice and pressed, so you can actually get that sort of real compact micarta, so you can actually build exactly what you want. Anyway, listen, as I said, I'll be making this into a custom pick on my next video, so I'll look forward to seeing you guys then. Thanks a lot guys, take care, catch up with you next time.